I'm finally gonna do something that I haven't done for like 9 or 10 years, and that is... Welcome back, travel fans. I'm Morgan from the very unofficial travel guides. Today on Sunday Sofatime, I'm gonna tell you about Marcus going on a cruise without me and what I'm gonna do without him. It is Sunday, June 30th, 2019, and as I told you, I am here home alone because Marcus is on a cruise all by himself. And before I get into all the details, I wanted to explain to you why I might look a little tired and puffy-eyed. The first reason is it is currently 6:30 in the morning. I think this is the earliest I have ever gotten up to do a Sunday Sofa Time. The next reason is because since I got up and have been sipping my decaf coffee and surfing through all the YouTube comments and Facebook posts and things like that, alongside that window on my computer, for some reason, I've also been watching pregnancy reveal videos. You know, these are videos where like the father finds out that his daughter is pregnant, or the grandpa finds out he's gonna be a grandpa, or the grandma finds out that she's gonna be a grandma. And I don't know why, but I've been bawling my eyes out for like a half an hour now. I'm so emotional. I don't know what it is about these videos, but if I start talking about it, it's gonna start making me cry again, so. All right, let's get to the topics of this video. And like I said, Marcus is on a cruise without me right now, and when he comes back, I'm going to do something without him, and that's what I'm going to tell you about in this video. And to begin it all, I will answer a question that so many of you have been asking when I've been posting pictures from Marcus's cruise on Facebook. You've been asking, why did he go on a cruise without you? And part of me is like, yeah, why did he go on a cruise without me? But I actually know the answer, and I'm not mad at all. Marcus and I both have a lot of responsibility in our real-life jobs. And a lot of what we do is like working on projects, and then when the projects are finished, then we have a little bit of time where we can take our vacation days. And let me just remind you again, in Germany, we get 5.5 to 6 weeks of vacation every year. It's really hard to take one of these weeks of vacation or 2 weeks of vacation in the middle of a project, just because when the things get rolling, then we need to be there, and we don't work together, but the way we work is very similar. We need to be there until the project is finished. You know what I'm saying? And so if what happened this year, or what happened this summer, is just our projects just did not line up, and he needed to like take time off like last week and this week and next week, and I can't. I just can't leave yet. And the next time that we would be able to get time off together would be like the end of August, I think. The end of August or the beginning of September. And that's like really close to the beginning of my next big project. And also, we were just sitting together and thinking about how long it would mean to wait until then to take vacation. And we were like, for both of us, that just seemed like a really long time after we both just finished a couple sort of really stressful projects. I mean, I feel like I'm always saying all of the projects we work on are stressful. But what I mean is, the last time that we were on vacation together was just, I think, the end of January or beginning of February, when we were on the Meraviglia. And so we were trying to plan, you know, something for the beginning of the summer. And like I said, we have 5.5 weeks of vacation, and they need to be used, or, you know, we lose them. I'm not complaining about that, I'm just saying. So, you know, typically we tend to do something like in the early spring, something in the summer, and then something in the fall, and then use a couple days here and there for just whatever. And it was just looking like the next time we were going to be able to do something together was going to be in the fall. And we both didn't want to wait until then to travel, to do something new, to take some time away and just relax and unwind. We didn't want to wait until then, and just so we could do it together. So long story short, perhaps a tangent, we just decided, all right, you go, you do your thing, and I'm gonna go and I'll do something else, and that way we'll both be, more relaxed, use up our vacation weeks, and we don't have to find anybody to take care of the cat. So, big bonus. Marcus is on the Mein Schiff 2 right now. Mein Schiff is, I don't know if you've ever heard of TUI cruises, T-U-I. I think a lot of people here in Europe know about them. And Mein Schiff is the German brand of TUI cruises. And Marcus is on the Mein Schiff 2, which has just recently been totally renovated. He flew to Mallorca, 2 days ago, stayed a night on Mallorca, and then boarded the ship yesterday. And there's pictures of his cabin on my Facebook page. So if you want to see that, and the more pictures he sends me, I will be posting those all throughout the next week. He definitely will not be vlogging, but I tried to convince him to get some video footage of his cabin at least, so I could make a cabin tour for you. Although I'm assuming most of you will never cruise with Mein Schiff, because I know most of you are not German-speaking people. Aber wenn du das bist, schreib mir bitte in die Kommentare. Ich würde gerne wissen, wie viele Leute von euch auch Deutsch sind. Surprise, I speak German. All right, I actually don't really know a lot more details about the cruise. I know that he's visiting almost all ports that we've been to before, except for Corsica. We've never been there. I don't know what he has planned. I don't know if he's going on any excursions. It's his thing, and we talked about it a little bit, but I think he also didn't have a lot of things planned before he left, so that's what I know. And now you probably want to know, okay, well, what am I doing? And I have to tell you something. This is going to be a long explanation, and it's going to be me sort of like thinking about like how this whole process went through in my head and why I decided to do what it is I'm doing. And if you just want to like skip to the reveal, then I'll put the time here right now. So if you don't want to hear all this tangent and the thought process that went into the planning of this, then just skip to this time. Slide that thing around down here, okay? All right, for everybody else who stayed, thank you, welcome. This will be our time together. All right, you guys know, obviously, I have this YouTube channel. It's something that I love to do. I love to make these videos to help people plan and enjoy their travels. And the more I've been doing it, of course, the more I've realized what kind of videos on my channel are the kinds that reach the most people. And those are definitely anything related to cruise ships or Disney World. And that doesn't mean that those are the only things that I love to do, but those are two things that I definitely do love to do. When I started planning this trip, of course, the first thing I did was I started looking at cruises. And it was very complicated because it's summer vacation right now. I was looking for something sort of last minute. I just started looking about 3.5, maybe 4 weeks ago, and everything was just really, really expensive. Not only because it's last minute in the middle of summer vacation, sorry, I drooled, but also because cruising as a solo traveler is expensive. We've talked about that in other videos. And the only, or the most practical ship that is in the Mediterranean right now, I thought I would just do another Mediterranean cruise, would have been the Norwegian Epic, because they have, that big block of solo studio cabins. But that would have been the third time I've cruised on the Epic. And so I decided, all right, that's out of the question. And then I started looking at cruises that leave from southern Florida. I thought, okay, well then maybe I'll just get a cheap flight to Miami and do something, get a discount on one of the cruises that was supposed to go to Cuba, but that's not going to Cuba anymore. But honestly, you guys, everything was just so expensive. Like, I literally couldn't find a package with flight and cruise together that was gonna cost me less than like $1,900, $2,000 US. And I just got to the point where it was like, okay, it's not gonna be a cruise this time. And that kind of disappointed me, and I have to say it also kind of scares me as well, because when I post videos that are not Disney related and not cruise ship related, I see how the viewership in my channel kind of dives. And so that influences the things that I think about and the way I plan my travels, is because I want to do things that people like to watch and that help people. And for whatever reason, those two things are what the people come to my channel for. So there was a point where I was like, all right, Morgan, you know what? You just need to bite the bullet and remember to next time plan more in advance. But you need to spend this $2,000 because you need to make more cruise videos to help your channel stay alive. But there are other things that I love to do that I can't do on a cruise ship. And one of them is play tennis. That's actually the reason that I'm up so early today, is because I'm going to play tennis this afternoon, or actually this morning in like 3 hours. So I've got to get all this done and edited before I leave. And if you follow my Instagram story, that's where I always post my tennis scores. So if you're a tennis fan or you're just interested in if I'm successful or not on the court, follow me on Instagram. Several years ago, before I started, or before the very unofficial travel guides really took off, just about once every year, I would do like a tennis camp vacation where I would go to like an all-inclusive resort someplace on the beach in one of the Spanish islands and do like a week of tennis training and match play. It was something that I love to do, something that was also sort of a dream of mine since I was like a teenager and playing on my high school tennis team. I was awful back then, by the way. And 100% the reason I stopped doing that is because of the very unofficial travel guides. If I had never started posting videos of cruising and Disney parks on YouTube, then I definitely would have done like it's probably been 8 or 9 years since I've done that, a tennis vacation. And honestly, the main reason is because when I have time off and when I'm thinking of traveling, I just realized, okay, you have to do a cruise or a Disney or at least a theme park video. I don't want you to like feel guilty, like I feel like it could be like, it sounds like I'm saying it's all you guys' fault. That's not that's not what I mean. I mean, indirectly it is, but I'm not saying that to like make you feel bad, because I love to do all of that. But long story short, I just decided for this vacation now, because cruising is going to be too expensive anyways, I'm finally going to do something that I haven't done for like 9 or 10 years, and that is I'm going to a gigantic resort and I'm gonna play a lot of tennis and just hang out on the beach. So there's the big reveal, and of course I'm gonna try to make some really interesting videos for you as well. I'm going to show you around my cabin. Do you see how automatic it all is in my head by now? Around my room, around the resort, around the unbelievable beach area I'm going to be staying in, and a couple other interesting things as well. And if you want to know exactly where I'm going to go, then hang out until after this little commercial break. Did you see the commercial? If you did, that means that this afternoon you're going to eat a piece of cheesecake. Let me know if I got it right. All right, I am flying to the island of Gran Canaria. Oh, the cat is puking. Can you hear her? Oh well, clean that up later. The Canary Islands are Spanish islands, and they're off the coast of Africa. And I have been to Gran Canaria, but it was 20 years ago. And I really don't remember a whole lot about it. And actually, I wrote to my ex-boyfriend to ask him if he remembers the hotel we stayed in back then, and he couldn't remember it either. But the Canary Islands are really easy to reach from Germany. There's a lot of flights that go directly to whichever island you're going to go to. And so that was one of the main reasons. And actually, the last place I did a tennis vacation was on Fuerteventura, but there just wasn't any packages and flights that seemed interesting enough to me, so I decided, and actually I talked to Marcus about this, Marcus helped me make the decision, I decided to do something new this time. So I'm going to Gran Canaria, and the most popular destination, the one that most people know about, is Playa del Ingles and Maspalomas. And that was the first place I started looking, and I realized that what I was looking for is not really located there. However, just on the other side of the amazing, gigantic, like 5-mile wide beach is a newer neighborhood that didn't even exist the last time I was there, called Meloneras. And that's where I'm going to be staying, in the Lopazan Costa Meloneras Resort and Casino. I've never been there. I've never even seen it anywhere other than on the website. This is what it looks like. And after I got over that stressful moment where I was like, is this really a good idea to do this and not go on a cruise, Morgan? After I got over that moment, I was just so excited to finally book this. If any of you have been to this resort or have been to this area of Gran Canaria, or if you have any Playa del Ingles tips for me or Mas Palomas tips for me, please get in touch. Write them in the comments below. Send me a private message. I want to make sure I have a really great time, and I want to make sure that I make some videos that will help any of you who might have questions or things you want to know about traveling to the Canary Islands. And I realize that that probably a lot of you have never even heard of the Canary Islands, and even more of you will never go there. I think probably most of the Americans watching my channel, and I know that most of you are Americans, I mean, would you ever consider going to the Canary Islands? But I know a lot of my friends in the UK and otherwise here in Europe, you all know about the Canary Islands, and I'm sure a lot of you have been there. So let's start a conversation about it. So you can ask me questions or give me advice, and I can ask you questions as well. One thing I definitely want to know about is if I should rent a bike. I don't want to rent a car because I know I won't be using it enough, but I'm thinking about renting a bike. And I looked at some websites, and it seems like renting a bike costs as much as renting a car. So if any of you have tips about that, let me know. I'm going to be leaving on July 11th, and I'm staying for 10 nights. So I'm back on the 21st. And yeah, I'm going to be taking tennis training, and I'm going to be doing some match play, hopefully. And I'm just going to be spending a lot of time at the pool and on the beach, just relaxing and chilling. Also, there's some water parks I want to visit. And, you know, when you're in places like this, they do offer things that are like excursions. Gran Canaria is a gigantic volcano, actually. It's not active, but there are, you know, like nature excursions. There's also like a, what do you call it? You know, like a SeaWorld type park that I might visit. And the more I talk about these things that I want to be visiting, the more I realize, okay, Morgan, slow down. Remember, you want to relax on this vacation as well. But it's just so hard for me. I'm always like, all right, well, I want to see this, and I want to see this, and I want to see this. And then at the end of the vacation, I'm like, wait a second, I forgot to relax. Does that ever happen to you guys? All right, this has become a very long video. Now you know all the goods, and now comes the time on Sunday Sofatime, where I comment on your comments live on air. In last week's Sunday Sofatime, I talked about the time that I tried to beg my way into free Disneyland tickets. Spoiler alert, it didn't work. These comments are related to that video. The first one is a kind of longer one. It's from Jay Thomas. Jay writes, I think you have to put yourself in their shoes a little more. I get from your perspective why you think they should or could have given you something, but think about it from their perspective. If they are a manager with entertainment, I would imagine that's a pretty serious and busy job. Oh yes, it definitely is. It's early in the morning, so they were probably preparing everything for the day's performances, and they get called all the way to the front of the park to ... be asked by someone to give them free tickets. And yeah, you know, when I read it that way and when I go back and watch the video from last week, I also think, oh, Morgan, what were you thinking? But it's all in the past. I'd be pretty frustrated if it were me. They probably have a million things they need to do at that moment, but instead they are in the front of the park being asked for free tickets by someone who has worked for Disney and so should know how not to be demanding, should know how demanding and stressful a job it could be. And you know what, Jay Thomas, I totally agree with you. When I go back and watch it, like I said, and when I think about it now, it was dumb. However, if you don't ask, they can't say no. Next comment is from Lori Dashiel. Lori writes, Allison is a saint. Yeah, I know. She must have been so frustrated after that whole process and then it not working out. I'd love to hear her version of this story. Hopefully Disney Guest Services sees this video and you have more than a discount headed your way. Well, that's definitely not going to happen. Disney doesn't really work with a lot of people on social media and only people who have, you know, like hundreds and thousands of subscribers like Tim Tracker get invited to the media events as a YouTuber. And the final comment is just a short one from James LeMay. He says, I hear Canadian? Very close. I grew up in Minnesota, so almost. That's it for this Sunday Sofa Time, and like I said, I gotta get this into the computer and edit it together so I can get to my tennis match this morning and check out my Instagram story to see if I won or not. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next week.